seersucker soup on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region today. I'm so happy you're joining us today. We have a great show coming up, and great because I love food, so we're going to be talking about food. Pasta Mama is here, and she is an amazing cook, and wait till you see what she brought on the show today. It's amazing, and as being an Italian, I can tell you this is traditional Italian fare, believe me. But then we're going to be going on, and we're going to be talking with the International Center of the Capital Region. They are a wonderful group and working very hard to create harmony and unity in this community. And we'll find out more about what they're up to and what their events are. And then we're going to hear about the Gospel Jubilee. That's coming up on the 23rd of April, and that will be here at Proctor's at 6 p.m. And we hope that you'll join us for that as well. Harbinger Theater is here again. We love to have them on the show because they do such great productions, and they do a lot of I guess what I want to say is that they're trying to create a format for people who are actually working with the new playwrights and new actors and kind of thinking outside the box. So we're very happy that the Harbinger Theater is here with Discovering David, or Destroying David. I already discovered David, so he's actually in Rome. So then we're going to be talking about Evictions, and it's a woman that was actually is in a mobile home park, and they're having issues with landlord and the sale of the property, and she's been written up in the newspaper a few times, so we'll be talking to her as well. So we have a great lineup today, and we're going to start right out with Denise Raucci Ritz, and she is Pasta Mama, and she is one heck of a Pasta Mama. Look at what you brought. Tell us what you brought.
Well,
because I know, but I don't know all the viewers know.
Okay. Well, being Italian, I figured I'd celebrate Easter.
Absolutely.
You know, it was that hard decision whether to bring you pasta or Easter treats, and I said I had to go with Easter.
Yeah, you go with the Easter, yeah. We'll make the raviolis later.
Exactly. So I brought our traditional Easter bread.
Okay, and that's made with eggs, lots of eggs. And
yes,
stuff, right? Yeah.
Lots of kneading by hand.
And you toast it.
And yes, you can, when you slice it, you can toast it. But sometimes we just like to put a little butter on it.
Betcha.
Or sometimes just eat it plain. It's all up to you
that
how much you want to indulge.
Is what does it. I love the Easter bread.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to try it.
It's almost like the Jewish bread, you know, the challah bread. But it's not quite.
Yeah.
But it's a substitute. If I have a craving for this, I'll get challah.
Yeah. Yes. So that recipe, my mom is a huge baker.
My mother was too, yeah.
And, you know, we come from a family of cooking. My grandmother was the cook, so pretty much everybody in my family cooks, but my mom and a couple of my aunts, they became bakers as well. This recipe, every time I do it, I always have to check with my mother, because it's just one of those things that as many times as I make it, for as many years as I've been making it, even the other day, Mom, let's just go over it, just to refresh my memory.
You don't have it written down? See, my mother wrote it down for me.
I do, but still, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
It's like we go over recipes, we talk recipes, whether we see something new on TV or we're still talking about our old traditional.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it off the top of my head, too. But it's just one of those things that we just keep in communication. Oh, I tried this, or oh, try that.
Yeah.
And, you know,
add a little, one of those things.
Yeah, we, add our little spark. We've taken tradition in a different direction. We still have the same values, family, traditional food, but at least for me, I kick it up with a notch.
Yeah.
I always add like a different flavor, or I'll go outside the box and, I make all the arrangements with the ribbons and the candies and all the extra stuff.
Well, because in a way, you're a caterer. I mean, you will make these.
Yes.
It's funny that you say that, because when I was first trying to learn the recipes from my mom, because a lot of it was up here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd say, well, Mom, how do you do it? Well, you just kind of knead it until it feels right.
Exactly. And I will still go over with my mom. Okay, now, Mom, when you do that, no, you just know. You just know.
Yeah, you just know. Yeah, and they tell you that. They'll go, yeah, well, you just know that when you need it, then you know it's right.
Right. Me and my mom, that is probably 90% of what we talk about
Yeah.
is food. You know, whether it comes to when I go to Florida, because she lives in Florida, and they always want me to make these cookies. So
Yeah.
I'll
Now
move on
these
to
are
the
now these are
Angenettes.
what we sometimes call the bride cookies too.
Yes, yes,
Because
or the wedding cookie.
The wedding cookie.
Some people call them rosettes. I swear, this cookie has so many names.
Right, right.
I call them strictly the Angenettes because I do add a little bit of the anise flavor, not too much, because people...
It can overpower.
Right, and I don't even like black licorice, but that little bit of anise with the other flavors
Yeah.
make it really
You
robust.
put the lemon, because I smell lemon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can smell the lemon in
I
there.
use a
yeah.
lot of citrus.
Yeah, the citrus seems to really brighten up the flavors.
Yeah, I have an assembly line in my house with my kids. You know, who's the grater, who's the juicer, you know, and then we just package it up for when we need it. It's a process
Yeah.
to make this kind of food because it's all fresh ingredients.
Well, you know, I found something, and maybe you already know this, but I did not know you could freeze lemons, and you could grate them, and you can have fresh lemon
I did
any
not even know
day
that.
of the week. Take a bag of lemons, throw them in your freezer, take it out. You can, and
No kidding.
I just found that out. Yeah.
Wow.
See,
I
now
know
we're sharing something.
Yeah, that's wonderful because even Rachel Ray has said on her show, because I watch her religiously,
Yeah.
that, oh, there should be something where you can go to the market because you could buy fresh parsley and basil and all these things chopped up in these little containers, but you can't find lemon or orange zest.
Well, you can Google it because you can freeze lemons and you can grate them, and they're just like.
Geez, that's good to know.
Yeah. Now, the one thing you said is that you won a prize for your regatta.
Okay, yep. So now we'll go over to this. I brought it like this. Because,
Well, that's the way we serve it at home.
Right. And we serve it in little pieces, and a lot of times during the Easter holiday or the weekend,
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes family's so big you can't see everybody in one
Exactly.
day, we bring little pieces of pie.
Yeah.
And everybody shares at the
Well,
pies.
when we say
and-
pie, we have to clarify
Right,
that because
right.
when the Italians talk about like a regatta pie,
Mm-hmm.
or they call it the pizza game, those are not like a pie, like a pumpkin pie.
No.
Those are usually made in a spring form pan. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you do, but we make them in a spring form, and they're a little thicker.
Yes.
So that you can cut them like this.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and more dense so you can pass it around.
Yeah.
So yes, this regatta pie I made for a local competition at the Boys and Girls Club. They used to have it called the Taste of the Capital Region.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and I made this one time, and the judges went crazy over it. They just loved the kick of flavor. I make a lot of my food very robust, so if it calls for like 1 teaspoon, I'm using way more than that.
Yeah.
And it's just how I cook.
Yeah.
And then I always add stuff to the top, as you could see. I put the lemon and the orange zest. I use both.
Yeah.
Traditionally, you know, you use lemon for one, orange for the other, but I just throw it all in there. It just makes it much more better.
Well, and you know, as Italian cooks, you cook with what you have. You know, a lot of
Not
times.
only what you have, but what you feel.
Yeah.
And I just like to be colorful and fun, and I make my food that way.
Yeah.
A lot of times my food has not just one kind of pepper, but it'll have 4 color peppers.
Okay.
Just because I like color.
Yeah.
And
Color's
then-
important.
Yeah, I feel it's
You
attractive.
eat with your eyes first.
Exactly, exactly.
Like
And-
I'm eating all of this right now, and I probably just put on 40 pounds just looking at this.
Well, this cookie, I really have to attribute how I became the name Pasta Mama, because I was at a backyard party, I would say 10, 11 years ago.
Keep talking. I'm going to grab one.
Oh, I would love to see your reaction as you bite into
I
it.
can't stand this. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was talking to somebody, and that's the reaction.
These are my mothers.
Oh my gosh, and that is my
These
favorite.
are my mothers.
That is my favorite compliment people say is when they take a bite of something and they'll right off the rip, this reminds me of my grandmother, this reminds me of my mom or my aunt, and that is literally my favorite compliment.
And your
Or
density on this is perfect.
each one
This
is
is
done
perfect.
by hand. Thank you very much. I don't just
And
scoop-
you're getting this from an Italian, you know that.
Right. Yes, and believe me, I have stars going in my head as every time you're complimenting me because
Yeah.
you being Italian and
Yeah.
knowing what this food means, because there's a
I
lot
can't
of,
wait to try your bread.
Oh,
See if that
yeah.
hits the mark there.
Yeah.
And I know your regatta and your pizza gain. In the pizza gain, you put the ham and the dried sausage. Or do
Actually,
you?
I use prosciutto in mine.
Oh, you prosciutto?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This, actually, I was on the Let's Eat Kitchen, and I remember the news people were, when they took a bite of it, they were just, wow, this has a lot of flavor. So that's the reaction I like when people bite into the food. But back to the cookies. So the backyard party, met somebody, and this person just loved the flavor of the cookie and asked what I was doing. I'm like, well, I just became a stay-home mom, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to start doing stuff. I
may quit making them and just call you. I mean, I can't beat these.
A lot of people do
these
that.
These are my moms.
I have people say that it's not a holiday unless we have your cookies.
Yeah.
And again, that's another one of my favorite compliments because it's like from my table to yours.
Yeah.
And so he invited me to he owned a hotel, which I didn't even know that. And he owns a radio station, and I didn't know that either. But one thing led to another. I was starting to do my stuff in their big kitchen, which everybody said, you're not trained to work in a big kitchen like that. And I said, I don't know. I know I could do it. I'm not worried. I became friends with the chef, which we're still great friends to this day. And he just could not believe when I went back there, and I just knew what I was doing. It was like, as they say,
intuitive. It was intuitive.
Yes. They say those ancestors that play in your head, you know, and you just know how to.
We got the genes. I mean, they're in our
And
blood.
I don't try to be anything except I just do what I do. Some people may like it. And
no, you are spot on. And I've had a lot of people that make this and then show it, and it's like, no, it's not quite right. But this, I took a bite of that. That was my mother's. And that's the way
really
we make them. So,
Thank you.
I make them that way too. But,
Yeah, and so he had it on his radio station that he was advertising for an event that I was doing at his hotel. And it said, we have our very own pasta mama, come see her, because a lot of times.
That's how you got your name?
And that's how I got the name. And then it just stuck. So before you know it, people are calling me pasta mama, and it just became a thing. And that's how a lot of what I do now unfolded, is that everything just became a thing.
And I think during the show we've been showing some of the photos of the foods that you have prepared. You're an amazing cook, and I know you do the pasta as well. So we got to talk about
that's a whole nother
another
homemade
time.
cavadillos. Another show, and I will
do.
bring everybody homemade cavadillos, because again,
I make
assembly
cavadillo.
line in my family.
Yeah.
We do the whole thing
I make
with my kids.
you just go bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, I bring my
You
kids
make the
into
gnocchi
it.
too.
Yes,
Yeah, I saw
yes.
that, yeah.
And the gnocchi we still call cavadillo because we have different boards. A lot of times we just flick them by hand.
Yeah, I do the hand.
Back in the day with the ants, and they're doing all their different
Yeah.
fingers. Well, now come into play is the boards. So the boards are fun for the kids because they make different shapes and designs.
Yeah, exactly. And I have that too. So, but listen, I wish we had more time, but thank you so much for being here, and we're going to have you on again talking about pasta.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Yeah, and we'll be in touch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is my mother's cooking, believe me. I'm going over here to Jennifer, and Jennifer, hey, you're talking international. We just started out with Italy, but now we're talking about international. And tell me what you're doing at your center. And I know that you have a big event coming up in November, so we want to talk about that as well. So tell us a little bit.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's so exciting to be here with you. The International Center was founded actually in 1956.
I know.
So it's a very long tradition of Capital Region people welcoming visitors from all over the world. So in the beginning, their mission was really to welcome immigrants and refugees. And then in the 1990s and 2000s, we switched our mission to more the larger scale.
Are you doing anything with immigration? I mean, the issues with that is coming up with the Ukraine and the horrors that are going on. These people need a place to go, and we are accepting some here. Are you involved at all with that, or with the Ukraine?
So we do partner with the USCRI, the U.S. Committee for Refugee and Immigrants. They're very active here, which is also why we don't want to step on the areas that other organizations
you don't
are
want to
working
duplicate.
on. Exactly. And also RISE in Albany, they do a lot of work with refugees and immigrants, so we help each other. We help each other find volunteers. We work together. But for our center, our focus is actually cultural exchange. So we get professional visitors to come and do professional exchanges.
Okay.
So these are folks who've been identified by various embassies in other countries, by the State Department, and through the program called IVLP. It's International Visitor Leadership Program.
IVLP, okay.
Yes, and they've been coming here since the 2000s, and we've had visitors from Ukraine, we've had visitors from Russia, and then another program through Open World is another government-funded program, and that one is specifically focused on the post-USSR countries. In May, we'll be having legislative staffers coming from Moldova. And they'll be giving us like the first-hand information of what's happening
This is a
in that
wonderful,
area.
it brings unity to the community. Because we don't know about certain countries, but finally you meet somebody from that country and you find out, hey, they're just like us, we're
Exactly.
the same people.
And there's so many differences, but there's so much that we have in common.
Yeah, and I understood, I was very surprised that I heard that New York has the largest, Ukraine is the latest, and Afghan communities in the United States.
That's right.
I was surprised of that.
That's right, yeah. We're a welcoming community, and I'm very proud to say that in this area, everybody has been wonderful in terms of reaching out to help people in Ukraine and also embracing the refugees who have been coming from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So that's definitely
one of the bright
spots.
Tragic thing, that people are living in countries where, your house is gone tomorrow, and I talked to somebody and they said, I don't know why they just don't go back and rebuild. It's like there's nothing there to rebuild.
Well, the other thing we're trying to bring more light to is the contributions of these immigrants and the refugees.
They're bringing
to our
all their
area.
skills with them.
Absolutely, and that's also why, as you mentioned, in the
November.
event we're having in November, we're honoring the immigrant experience. So the idea is that we want to give achievement awards to folks in different areas, whether it's community service, business entrepreneurship, philanthropy, civic engagement, and career advancement, so that we recognize the immigrants who have made significant contributions to our area.
Exactly. Now, I know I've been involved with the Chinese Community Center, there's the Italian Community Center, there's the German American Club, there's the Polish American. Do you work with any of those, or do they come to you rather, with questions or anything?
We do. So personally, I just started as executive director late last year.
But you've been with them a while, haven't you?
I've been with them since June as a director of communication. So I'm still relatively new to the role, and although I do have connections in the capital region through other activities I've been a part of, but I'm still reaching out to many of these
so you're in your
centers.
fledgling.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But we've already forged some wonderful relationships, and we're looking forward to being a platform so that these cultural centers can really interact and talk with each other, because I know for myself, as I'm also on the board and the Chinese Community Center, that we do a lot of events for the Chinese community, but we don't always necessarily know what some of the other immigrant communities are doing. And I think it'll be great as the international center to bring these centers together, have some chats, best practices, and talk about issues that really affect all of us.
And your missions are really the same.
Exactly.
And so why not share that with it? And I know that Professor DeNovo from the Italian Community Center has tried to reach out to other centers as well to kind of keep that, communication going.
Absolutely. So we're working on it.
Yeah, and no, I think you're going to do a great job. You certainly have a history to work with. First of all, there's an institution that's been around. You didn't have to develop it right from the get-go.
Right.
So you have that, and I think the idea of trying to work with the embassies, is that what you're saying as well?
We work with the State Department.
The State Department.
Yep, and also the national umbrella organization called Global Ties. They're our funding organization. So that's where we get the program funding for the professional exchanges. But for programs that we do locally, like the Achievement Awards, those we have to fundraise locally here.
And how do you raise your money?
So we do have opportunities for corporate sponsorships, and then we also have opportunities for event sponsorships.
And how do people find out about that,
They
so
can
that
go to our website.
so that they can get involved?
Absolutely, we welcome anybody with skills, time, volunteering. We're always needing volunteers, sponsorships. Our website, I think it will be
we've been putting that up as well
on the video. So visit on there and just click on Get Involved, and under that there's a multitude of ways to get involved with us.
Well, we hope that people will take advantage of supporting such a wonderful mission that you have. We are a world community, and no matter how much we think that we're isolated, we're not isolated. We are with everyone else.
Absolutely.
And we're all working together to to make a better life for everyone.
Exactly.
You know,
and that's the part that I enjoy about being in this position, is that we really empower people to become citizen diplomats.
Yeah.
Right. So we have the opportunity to allow just everyday people like you and me to meet people from Moldova.
Yeah.
During today, actually, well, by the time that the show is airing, right now we have filmmakers from Senegal meeting with various
Wonderful.
organizations in this area, because we are a hub for filmmaking in the country.
Well, it's interesting because Kevin Hickey from the Albany College of Pharmacy,
Yes.
you know,
I
and
do.
he does
He's
the
gonna
African
meet with
film.
he's
He
gonna
does
meet
the
with us,
African
yeah.
Films Festival, and it's
Exactly.
going on right now, I believe.
That's right. It was last night, so yeah.
See, I mean, look at,
Yeah.
we picked up on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's great. So it's just a wonderful community. Very grateful for having the volunteers and the support from various organizations, and we just look forward to doing more.
Good. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And please come in November to talk more about
I would love
what's
to.
happening with the awards that you're giving, because I would love to give, you know, a big shout out to the people that have given so much to our community.
Wonderful.
Thank you so
I'd
much.
love to do that.
And try one of those Italian cookies.
I can't wait.
Good.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I'm going to switch over here to Dr. Reverend Elgin Taylor, Senior.
Yes.
Did I get it all?
You got it
Got it
all.
all. And you're doing Gospel Jubilee
Yes.
again.
Again.
Now, you have been the musical director before, right?
I've been the musical director for all 12 years.
My goodness.
We started in 2010 in the GE Theater here at Proctor's, and then
The main stage. You went to the main stage.
we
didn't you?
went to the main stage on year 2 and have been at the main
Yeah.
stage.
I know I did some
since
filming
then.
for of
Yes,
that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Other than the 2 years during the pandemic, we had that quick
Well,
break,
everybody
and,
kind of,
and
yeah.
now we're back in action and looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, and I understand that you've got some guests, or you're honoring. Tell me a little bit about that, because you have Parsons and you. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. This year's program is being dedicated to the memory of 2 of the choir members who
Yeah.
have sang the entire stretch of the Jubilee, Evangelist Regina Parsons and
Brown.
Antonia Rucker Brown.
Now, she's a descendant of Dick's, is that correct?
Yes. Evangelist Parsons is Pastor Georgetta Dixon's
Oh, okay. It was
daughter.
Parsons. Okay, I'm sorry. Got 'em mixed up. I'm sorry.
But they're all, both of them are also related too. They're all from the same family.
Are they really?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't
absolutely.
realize that. Yeah, so are you having any featured singers? Or,
Yes, we-
tell me, first of all, how do you gather this group together?
Well, usually we just put out notifications, letters to the interdenominational churches in the capital region, Albany, Troy, Schenectady, but we've had people as far as Catskill and Glens Falls
Oh,
come
they
down
get involved.
to
Thank
join
goodness,
and
yeah.
sing. This year, because it's our first year going back, we decided to do something on a little smaller scale with the choir. Usually we have almost 200 choir
I know, I've
members.
seen that stage.
But this year there'll only be about 60
Oh,
that
that's
will be
smaller, a
singing.
lot smaller, yeah.
But it's the same power, the
Yeah,
same
oh, of course,
enthusiasm.
yeah. I mean, you get that blood going, don't you? You just get it going.
We try. And of course, this year, we have gathered them together. They've been rehearsing now since the beginning of March. They
Okay.
rehearse every Monday evening.
And where do you rehearse?
We rehearse at Macedonia Baptist Church. That's in Albany.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm aware of that one.
Yeah. And so they rehearse each week. We've been prepping the music. We're doing a special musical tribute, one to Regina and one to Antonia.
And we had the photos up there, I believe. I thought they were anyway. But yeah, they're coming up right now. And now which is which? Can you look at the monitor and tell me?
Sure. On my left is Evangelist Regina Parson.
Okay.
In the white, and in the black is Antonia Brown.
Okay.
And both of them were phenomenal singers. Antonia is a songwriter, was a songwriter in her own right, and just phenomenal singers.
Right. And these are, and I'm sure you'll have the whole place rocking.
We're going to do our best.
Because, I mean, I was there, and it's funny how they'll be singing, and the people in the audience know those gospel, songs, and they'll just join in with it, too.
Yes.
How long is the program?
It will probably be about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And it starts at
tops.
6 o'clock.
It starts at 6 o'clock.
And can they still get tickets?
They can get tickets on the night of the performance.
Okay, so
as long
they can
as-
buy a ticket at the door.
Yes, yeah, right.
Okay,
And
bring your friends and come enjoy
everybody.
and just get that celebration going.
Yes, we have a couple of special guests that will be sharing with us. Evangelist Lorraine
who's that?
Stansel Lawson. She's from New Jersey.
Okay.
So she'll be doing the lead.
Oh, okay.
She's a recording artist, as well as Reverend Melody Lovely. She's from Atlanta, and she'll be doing a few leads among several of the choir members that will be featured on some of the songs as well.
Nice. Yeah, this must be an exciting time for you.
It really is. There's been a great enthusiasm among the choir members, even in the rehearsals. So they're looking forward to sharing, and we're looking forward to being together. There's some excitement in the air.
Yeah, and just to remind people, it's going to be on April the 23rd.
April 23rd at 6 p.m.
And what day is that?
That's on a Saturday.
A Saturday, okay.
Yes, it's on
At 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. at Proctor's.
Right, so they get their tickets right at the door, or you get the tickets ahead of time, but
Yes.
you can contact Proctor's and get your tickets through Proctor's.
Yes, a lot of people, the ticket sales have been going very well.
People want to get out and
They
enjoy.
wanna get out
Yeah,
and
and
enjoy.
enjoy the getting together with your friends and celebrating and feeling that spirit. Just
Absolutely.
get everybody moving, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm sure if anybody can get that spirit moving, it's going to be you.
Well, we're going to do our best by the help of the Lord, and we're just looking forward to it.
Good. And I congratulate you on your 12th year of doing this. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
got-
We've partnered with Sarah Hill, as you
Sarah
know.
Hill,
Sarah,
good friend of mine,
She's
yeah.
been the executive producer, and
Yeah.
she's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, she's
in
done
the
that for
production.
the
many
get-go,
years.
yeah.
Yes, many years. She's been there the whole stretch, so it's a joy to work with her as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I'm glad you have a great person to work with, and you know that she's reliable, and you know
Absolutely.
she's done it for so long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today.
My honor.
And I hope that you have a sold-out house on the 23rd of April, and that's at 6 p.m. at Proctor's.
Yes,
right?
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
and thank you for Gospel Jubilee,
Yes,
right? And we're going
yes.
to be jubilant.
Yes, that's what we're going to do.
We're going to switch to our next guest coming up. Thank you so much, Reverend,
Thank you.
for being here today. And we're going to be talking with Amy. Hi, Amy, and you are the director of, you know, this is such a sad name, Destroying David. I was in and saw David, and I was like, my mouth just was like,
Oh, it's incredible.
it was
work of
like
art,
being in
and
a
it
church
is-
when you walk into that little, it's just not a very big area that you walk
Yeah,
into.
the Galleria. It's got its own place. I also saw the David in Florence. It's magnificent.
And
Magnificent.
people there, it's silent.
It is.
People don't talk, they just look.
Yeah, yeah.
So why does somebody want to destroy David? Tell me.
Okay. Well, to get through grief.
Okay.
It's a process. It is about an art restorer who is lost his partner and is feeling that if he could destroy something so beautiful, maybe people could feel what his pain is. Of course, he doesn't go through with it, but I actually probably shouldn't have said that. Keep it in suspense. But,
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Okay.
But it is really a play about hope and art and what really brings community and brings hope to people. It's
Yeah.
really a very touching play, very beautiful. Every time I've read it and seen it and have had this wonderful cast perform it, I have cried at the end. It's very, very moving.
And it looks like you got a couple cast members here.
Yes,
yeah,
here they
so
are.
let's talk to Chris and Patrick. Hey, good to have
Hello.
you guys on the
I
show.
am.
And we're having them sit together today for the first time we're doing this. And we're going to change the format of the show next time, so it's going to be a lot different. But anyway, you're both in the play?
We are both in the play.
Yeah, usually you're directing it.
Usually.
Oh, well, actually, you've directed too.
Yeah.
Yes.
We started off. He directed me first. He was a director before I was.
Oh, really?
But yeah, we've had nearly 40 collaborations, and this is our 15th time on stage together.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. And you have an acting class, right, Patrick?
I do have an
Let's
acting
address
class.
that. And
Yeah.
this is, the Harbinger Theater came out of that.
Yeah, somewhat, yeah. I have a Sunday morning acting class at Albany Barn, and we've always done scene nights. Our 13th scene night is May 3rd. Some of your crew members have done scene night, scenes and monologues, and we produce them at Albany Barn. I've been doing it like 6-7 years, and we in the pandemic we were doing scene night as soon as we were able to in April of 2020, and I was like, why aren't we doing plays? So we started doing plays and
I
created
see Chris is
Harbinger.
nodding his head, yeah.
Chris was in class. He joined class during the pandemic, just to get out of the house.
We did a lot of talking during the pandemic because there's not much else to do
I
except
know.
talk.
Reading
so.
plays, reading plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we read hundreds of plays.
I believe that.
And we, it all came together, and enormous amount of support. Amy joined class during
During the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
So you're a newbie.
I am a newbie.
Well, not now. It's been 2 years. But yeah, there were a bunch of people. We had a bunch of support from St. Rose students. They did away with their theater department, and
So we grabbed them.
Wasn't that a tragedy?
It
Wasn't
was
that-
terrible.
awful for them.
Great for us.
Yeah.
Harbinger loves them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to do things. The first production, crazy. Let's do a play with a choir during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
We had a cast of 21 to do The Christians, a play about theological debate.
But it got great reviews.
Great reviews, great houses.
Every one of your plays gets
Yeah.
fabulous reviews.
Well, yes.
Did I miss one that didn't?
No. I could have written better reviews.
Okay, all right.
No, they've all been received exceptionally well, and they're all Capital Region premieres, all new plays, and all plays about challenging subject matter, and to some degree, all about change agents. Someone who sees something and wants to move forward in a new progressive direction. And to some degree, Destroying David is that as well. It's definitely a guy working through something.
How did you find that play? Chris, did you find it or did you
No,
find it?
Patrick found it. He had done a play called Church and State by the same playwright, and had kept in touch with him. In fact, the playwright.
He's still alive then.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Well, see,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, thank you.
He's actually
Shakespeare's dead, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming a lot of these guys are dead.
No,
not all playwrights are
No,
dead.
I know.
and he did a talk back, and the playwright zoomed in for that talk back
Oh.
even. So when this playwright, he had been working during the pandemic, he had worked on this particular play. It was originally about 17 pages only, and
And short.
Yeah, short. Right, and then he gave it to his wife to read, and he had still had time to work on it during that time period. And Patrick was in touch with him, and he said, "Hey, I got something. If you want to,
Try it. Yeah.
try it, fool around with it."
Yeah, run up the flagpole.
Jason Odell Williams.
Okay. And where does he live?
He's in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yep, he's a playwright, nationally known. He premieres plays in Florida, Rochester, and he reached out to us, this amateur company in Albany, New York. We did Church and State, and we had him for the Zoom talkback, and he said, "Here's a new play. Do you know any companies in your area that might be interested?" And I said, "Hello."
Yeah.
I said, "Thank you very much, and I'll take the lead role." No, we scheduled. I gave it to the group. We had 15 members of Harbinger read it, and do we
You
want
did a table reading, you mean?
Yeah. No, we actually didn't. People read it on their own, and who wants to
Oh.
direct it, and we were not earmarked for the cast, and
Amy, you're still here. We're kind
No,
of.
it's okay.
Okay. We're not ignoring Amy, but we're kind of getting the background on it, I
Yeah,
guess.
absolutely.
But anyway, I love Jason, and he's, very agreeable. He's done a bunch of interviews for us. He talked to the Times Union, Everything Theater, Nippertown.
Yeah.
He's
Rudy Lou and
done
yeah,
all
yeah.
of this work for us, and he's going to do a Zoom talkback with us on Sunday.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he writes these plays that have change agents. They have someone who takes a moral stance. In Church and States, it was guns. And in this, in some respects, it's art. It is the indomitability of art and what gets us through life, and the importance and primacy of art in our lives. And I was like,
You're in.
take it.
Well,
Yeah,
I know,
it felt exactly what I wanted
When
coming
I,
out of the pandemic.
read your mission is really, I hate to use the word avant-garde, but on a way it is. You're kind of looking outside of everything, and you're moving forward into a different direction by addressing plays that are a little bit offbeat or have a new.
Just that aren't done. I
Undone.
mean, Arsenic and Old Lace and Harvey, honestly, I don't know how many more of those I can just go see. Once you've seen them 6 or 7 times.
Yeah,
it's
how many more times? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people.
So how many times have you seen Death of a Salesman?
Well, I was even in Death of a Salesman, so plenty.
Yeah, but that's sort of the impulse to create. Is you're sitting in a room with a blank wall, and you say, "Let me put something on that wall." Let me create something. And you can hang a Matisse, or you can hang a photograph of your mother. But it's like you want something different. You want to, create something. You want to leave your mark and put something beautiful in the world that speaks to you. And after seeing something 5, 6 times, you say, I want to say, hey, I read this great play. What do you think?
Yeah.
And it is going to be staged in an art gallery at the Apolka
Yeah, the
Gallery on the
Apolka.
Russell Sage
Apolka. Did I say
College
that right?
Road.
I always have trouble with that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Art
So
gallery,
We're going
yeah.
to be immersed in the art. It's really a beautiful setting for this beautiful play.
Yeah, and how big is the cast, Amy?
It is 2.
Well,
Well,
kind of. Well, kind of. Well, the reason
Although, yes, Chris plays multiple characters, but
Well-
the cast of 2,
what got me is that when they usually tell me the character, I get us and them or me and them, and it's like, what is that? So tell me what that is. I didn't get that at all.
Well, you is Patrick here.
Okay.
He plays the art restorer, and then them is everybody else. So
Oh, okay.
his boss, Michelangelo.
Okay, and you play all those parts.
Correct.
You play Michelangelo too? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And what did they say about Michelangelo? They said, well, and maybe this isn't true, but they said, well, you just take a piece of marble and cut away everything that isn't David.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody said that. I don't know
No.
whether that's true or not, but I always have to laugh at
Yeah,
that.
in the play, the line is like Michelangelo discovering the flesh hidden within the marble stone.
Yeah, the same thing, same
Yeah.
idea of doing that.
Yeah.
So you are only working with these 2 gentlemen. What an amazing experience that must be. Because these are 2
Painful.
experienced. No, I know.
yeah, I know. I mean, and
You're hardly any directing, right? They just take over
well,
probably.
it is wonderful to have a great cast. You often have heard that directing success is 90% of it is who you cast. And so wonderful talent here. And we also have an amazing technical crew. Harbinger has been lucky to have just Nikki and Nealon doing lights, and we've had people step in, and we just have a wonderful company now of people.
Well, now I know you're doing it in the gallery, so what do you do for a set? I mean, because that's
Well-
got to be,
Well, the gallery has an exhibition going on now, and actually it is really beautiful canvases by, I'm sorry. I'm
Judith
saying-
Braun.
Yeah.
Judith Braun?
Judith Braun, My Pleasure is the exhibit, and you can arrive early and
And
see
ex-
all her
oh,
works.
great,
Yeah,
yeah.
we encourage, please come early.
and what type of art is that?
It's immersive, it's large scale wall hangings.
Like George O'Keeffe big ones or what?
Yeah.
They're pretty big.
Yeah.
Bold
Okay.
prints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that you can see that, and
And
then
you've got that atmosphere already, and then an art restorer working. We have a beautiful image of David, a very large 14 by 10 feet screen of David, so his presence is there.
to me, Michelangelo has got to be one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yeah,
and
and
his
then
sculpture,
even said the
whatever,
play,
he's
after David, he went and did the Sistine Chapel.
I know.
So it's like
laying on his back, right? I don't know if that's true, but it must have been, because how else would you do it?
Right. Roll it out.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen that at the Sistine Chapel as well. We have been gifted with such talent in this world that it's almost, when I saw the title, I got to tell you, it really tugged at me because I'm going, I don't think I like this.
It's provocative.
I
You
mean,
know,
that's
and-
kind of how I felt. It was like, no.
And I think the pandemic has damaged all of us in certain ways, in ways that we may not even realize yet. And there are actions that we've taken coming out. You can see it at the Oscars. You can see it, you can see it in the country. There are actions that are going on that somehow are related to our isolation or
You think that maybe? Yeah.
there's something going on.
Yeah. Well, I know there's something going on. I didn't
something
know if
going on.
isolation was.
And
It's contributory.
and I think this battle that this man has in this play between violence and creation is going on in the country, in the world. And, it's like, it's a challenge to all of us to say, which side are you landing on?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe you don't remember, or maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but didn't someone try to destroy the Mona Lisa? Or
Well,
was
the
it
David,
David
there
had
was a
several
guy.
attempts.
Oh, the
there was
David, really?
Yeah.
There's a section of the play. There's great history
I
in
didn't
the
know.
play.
Someone really tried to
Yeah,
destroy
someone went after it with a hammer, knocked off his toe.
1991.
There's a bunch of stuff. I don't want to give too much
I had
away.
not
but
known
he's
that.
gone through a lot. David's had some damage done to
Yes.
him.
Oh, I'm so
There's some
sorry.
history about that in this
So
play.
sorry.
So
Yeah, no, there's great history about the
But he still
creation of
stands.
it.
He still stands.
He's no,
You
I know
know,
he did. Yeah, but
How
which is the point?
how he was created, why he was created, attacks against him. There's a lot of art history in it.
yeah. Well, I'm upset now about his toe.
It's better.
upset
No,
about
but he
his
looks
toe.
good. He
It's
looks
better.
good.
No, I know. David, to me, it's such a beautiful piece of artwork, and if when you've been there, so you've seen all the little pieces on the sides that he started and quite didn't finish, and it was a work in progress and things like that, and you can see the creation that was within him.
Yeah,
as to
it's
say.
stunning.
I want to thank you both for being here, and your play is going to be amazing. I know.
Yeah.
Thank
Tell us more about when and where.
Yeah, we have a preview tonight.
Then I'm going to go back to you. So, yeah.
A preview tonight, free preview, April 6th. And then we open Saturday night, April 9th. We do a matinee on the 10th. And then we are back Tuesday and Wednesday, the 12th and 13th. And then we close next Friday and Saturday, the 15th and 16th. Those are 7:30 shows at the Opelka Gallery.
And it's on New Scotland Avenue.
That's
With
correct.
one
Yeah.
matinee on Sunday.
Okay, good.
This coming
I'm going
Sunday.
to try to get
April
there.
10th.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to
2
see
o'clock.
it.
Yeah, please do.
I'm not going to cry. Am I?
Yeah. No. Well,
It's very
Amy,
touching.
Amy cries a little bit.
The play is very touching, actually.
We had a dress rehearsal last night, and tech people were crying. It was
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll bring tissues.
Yeah.
Thank you both for
Thank
being
you.
here. So
Thank you for
being
having us.
here. And so, Amy, you have had a good time directing these two guys, and you are excited about tonight, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, hope
It's
to be
wonderful
there.
when you finally see it all together.
Yeah.
We weren't able to get in the space for a while, so now to be in the space and to have everything come to fruition.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
Going to be great. I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for your experience of, I guess it's an enviable position to be in to direct these two guys, because they are just fabulous people.
It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
So please
Oh,
come.
good. And yeah, good. I hope to see
Okay.
you there.
Thank
you so much, Amy, for being here. We're going to switch over and talk about a subject that we've never really talked about on the show. And we have you here, Angela. Angela Kaufman is here. You live in a mobile home park, which many people do. And as a matter of fact, I found out that Saratoga has one of the largest populations of 119 or over 100 of them. What happens when that land gets sold, and what do you do?
So, thank you for having me. I live in Saratoga Lakeview Mobile Home Park, and our park has already been sold as of June of last year. And most people don't realize, because mobile home parks are kind of marginalized in the larger housing conversation, and there's reasons for that that can be traced back to white supremacism and classism, but I won't have time to get into all that now.
Okay.
But when a park is sold in New York State, as of 2019, If the buyer of the park certifies that they intend to close the park or change the use of the land, it triggers what's called the right of first refusal, meaning that the existing tenants have the right to organize and make a counteroffer of the same amount at least and preserve the park.
So, in other words, if this, let me get
Sure,
this in
sure.
my mind. Okay, I'm an owner, and I'm going to sell this land, this plot of land, because the housing on it is worthless as far as selling it to someone else, because they're not going to use it that way. Okay, and they're going to offer me, say, $100,000. We'll just use it a round number, $100,000. You have the right to buy it for $100,000.
Only if the person who's buying the land from you, like in our case, Mike Giovanone owns the Saratoga Boat and RV storage next door.
Okay.
So if you're the owner of my park and I'm coming in and saying, hey, I want to buy this park so I can expand my boat storage
Yeah,
business.
makes sense.
Right, so then you have to send a letter to all the residents saying, because basically what's happening is a community that exists where people are living in affordable housing is in jeopardy of being closed.
Yeah, and then what do you do?
purchase.
Because it's not like you can pick up your house and go somewhere, but even though it's called a mobile home,
Exactly.
it's not exactly mobile.
And that's one of the biggest misconceptions. I get asked a lot, well, why don't you just find a cheap piece of land out in the sticks somewhere and move the home? Well, first of all, there is no more cheap land anywhere. Like,
No,
that doesn't
no.
exist.
Especially not in Saratoga County.
And anywhere. And it's surprising to people that our park is actually one of the last vestiges of unsubsidized affordable housing in the whole capital region, let alone Saratoga County. But also,
And it's unsubsidized.
well, yeah, in a sense that, like, we didn't have to sign up for Section 8 to have
Yeah, okay.
an affordable
Right, yeah,
housing.
okay.
It's anyone who lives there. But also, like, to your point, a mobile home is cost prohibitive to move. 90% of mobile homes only move once, and that's from the factory to the lot that they're on.
And usually there's like, like a foundation. I
Yes.
mean, it's not like they're on wheels.
Exactly. It's not, people confuse, I think, mobile homes and like
With RVs,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So right, it makes sense that you'd want to give residents a right of first refusal to not have their entire lives upended.
Really
and also,
upended.
When mobile home parks close, a lot of times the residents end up homeless, and the Times Union has done...
Because they can't take their home with them.
Right, and it's their investment. So it's, it's never pleasant to be evicted. Like, I don't want to undermine the level of trauma that goes on when people are evicted from apartments, but there is a difference between packing your things in an apartment and
Moving
finding somewhere
somewhere.
else, right, versus like a home that you paid for, that you've made repairs on, that you've invested your money in. There's
And
just
you've been
a
paying
bigger-
rent on that space
Yes.
besides. I mean,
Yes, and that's people don't realize when you live in a mobile home park, you might pay for the loan. Like, we have a loan on our home. We only moved there in the summer of 2020. My loan isn't up until, like, I'm not done paying it for like another 4 years.
So if your house, if it's gone, you're still paying a loan,
Yes.
and yet you don't have your home
And I won't
because
have
you
my
can't
home.
move it.
We will be homeless, and I appreciate you inviting me on, because I know eviction and homelessness are both not comfortable topics, but we need to talk
No, but it's
about
important
this.
that we address it, because
Yes.
it's so easy for people to take a label,
Mm-hmm.
and they've already, the minute they see the word, they have the idea, they know all about it. Well, they don't, unless you talk from someone on that side of the table
Right.
that can explain what's going on.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Especially with mobile home parks, there are tropes that are endemic in our pop culture and our media. And again, there's reasons for that are beyond what we have the scope to talk about. But it appears that our landlord, who was the buyer of the park, Mike Giovanone, appears to be playing on these tropes in his characterization of the residents there. In particular, because I've been the only open, outspoken tenant
And you've been in the
park.
paper, you've been in the
Yes.
Times Union and stuff. Yes, I know that, and I've read some of the articles.
And I've openly challenged on social media. I've openly challenged what's going on to the paper, to WAMC. So he has characterized me using a lot of these tropes. Part of the eviction notice states that we have code violations, which we do not have, and even the town code enforcer said there are no violations. He's also accused me of trespassing, and by which he means I went door to door in my community distributing a flyer letting
But
my...
that's not trespassing.
Right. Well, exactly. It was a COVID rent relief program flyer. But exactly, the thing is, because there are these stereotypes about mobile home parks being the place where those bad, vile, aggressive, criminal, like all these, and
Well, the movies portray it that way. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not. It's like whether you take an Italian group and you portray them all
Yes.
as criminals, or you take the Russians and the Russian mafia, or I
Right.
mean, it's sort of like it's the idea that we want to characterize people.
Right, it's the stereotypes.
Yeah, it's stereotyping.
And unfortunately, though, in some cases like this, those stereotypes, it's a person in power wielding their power, playing to those stereotypes, and when the police show up, when he calls the police and tells them that I threatened his life, which I never did, when they show up, they
And
are
I'm
acting.
I'm sure you're wielding one of your, Xena the warrior thing going on.
I had the whole interaction recorded on video,
Yeah.
and the sheriff would not admit that he was lying, because those tropes run so deep that people automatically respond when we talk to, politicians, when we talk to, although we have been received very well by politicians when we tell our story, but when we talk to people, there's automatically that reaction of like, oh, this is just, I won't use the word for it because it originates in classism and racism, but that trope about low-income white people who live in trailer parks.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know what
you're
I
talking-
mean?
Everybody knows what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. So even though people logically know that stereotypes are harmful and that they're false, there is that knee-jerk reaction of like, well, I'm not going to take this person seriously even when they're showing me evidence of what they're saying. I'm going to believe this person over here who, is powerful and well-connected.
We've seen that all along, no matter what kind of proof you give them, whether it's on vaccinations or anything else. It's like, no, I believe this and that's it. And
Right.
there's no facts or nothing that you can present that will allow that person to see a different view. I mean, they've already, it's the blinder thing.
Yes.
And it's such a shame. We talk with the international group. It's the same thing. You characterize people and you can't get beyond that until you meet them and hear their stories.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do today with you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. There's a lot of misconceptions about what we're facing with this eviction, and people say things like, well, he's giving you,
He
he's
gave you 5 years, right?
Well, that was the thing. So initially, the way he undercut our right of first refusal was to give us 5 years. But his actions, and more recently, as of last week, his words demonstrate that was a bad faith argument.
He just wants you out. Didn't you get that message yet?
Oh, my first concern when we were told he's certifying 5 years, we were in a meeting with a nonprofit that was helping us at the time. And I said, okay, well, that's great, but all he has to do is come in and evict us one at a time. And then not only does he get to build his boat storage sooner, but one thing people don't realize, so the other part of that protection from the state is that when a park closes, the owner of the park has to give each household an amount of money up to $15,000, and it's decided by a judge how much people will get. He stated
Based on what you own?
I'm not sure. We were told that it's based on, I think it's based on like the appraisal of how much the sale of the land was worth, but I don't quote me on that because I never got that in writing.
Yeah, I can't quote you on anything because I'm just listening.
But it's some amount up to that. And so he has mischaracterized that to the press to make it sound as if he is offering a buyout of that amount minus the amount of money it will cost to remove the trailers, which again, it's not up to him, it's up to a judge. But the other thing is, if he drives us out one by one, he doesn't technically have to give anybody anything. So people say like, oh, well, he's giving you a buyout, just take the money and run. Well,
So he's playing the game that way,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And he's probably in his rights. I mean, he probably figured that out. And,
Right.
you have to, I don't know, you can't afford lawyers. I mean, because attorneys are expensive.
Well,
and what,
I've been very fortunate. I do have an attorney who's working with me. It took me like 5 months
Pro
to find this
bono or
person. So far, I keep saying like, let me know how much I owe you, and then he like changes the topic.
Okay, all right.
So,
Yeah.
But he's a saint. He's wonderful. But it took me 5 months to find him.
is there any way that you can get, but you have to go somewhere. So for him to pay your moving costs?
Well, at this point, since
I
he's
mean,
already
moving costs, maybe you could move your entire thing to a new trailer park.
It would be cost-
or mobile home park, I'm sorry.
Well, a couple things with that. One is it would be cost prohibitive. We've already got a quote for, and because we had a new roof put on when we first got the place, we were told that they'd have to take off the roof and move the trailer and the roof separate. So it's really cost prohibitive.
I know nothing about that.
But the other part of it is mobile home parks are in a way being gentrified because people have found out there's big money to be made in having like this captive audience of tenants who can't easily move even when you raise their rents every year and do all these things to violate their rights. So this particular park is the most affordable in the area. So part of the reason we moved there is because it would be a sustainable way for us to just continue the next however many years of our lives. Other parks in the area, even though rents are supposed to
And
be
you're saying they
significantly cheaper.
gentrify them. I didn't.
Well, yeah, the rents have gone up a lot in other parks in the area. So it used to be like $300, $400 was an average like lot rent, and now places it's like over $600, and other parts of the state it's closer to like what you'd pay in an apartment. So there's really like ends up being no difference. There are people in this state.
You
who
have, Angela, I've got to tell you, I know nothing about mobile homes. I mean, I
Neither
know
did
that
I.
my daughter had I guess, I don't know, RV trail, I know, you know, on a summer
Right.
place, you know, I don't know what they call them. So I'm trying to
Like
be
a
careful
seasonal
about-
campground,
Yeah,
maybe,
there you go, yeah. So I do know that, and they were able to move that
Oh, yeah.
because the way it was set up. So that's entirely different.
That's
So
different.
we're eliminating that. That's the only thing I know. So when
Right.
you're talking about a mobile home park, I have no knowledge about what it entails. I do know that you have to set it up, and you have to have your electricity, you have to have your water, you have to have all the stuff that goes with that. And I do know that you can't just pick it up, because I lived in the
Right.
Midwest, and there were a number of
Oh, sure.
mobile homes there near a military base. So I do know you can't just pick those up and move them. They have to just sell them to the next buyer, you know. when
And
they
usually
leave.
that would be the case, but it's going to be like if
But
this.
there's nobody there to sell it to, because they
They'll have
want
to
you
move
out.
it. Right, and they'll have to move it, and it would be cost prohibitive. So my plan is, when the time comes, because we're either going to be evicted in 5 years if he holds to his original agreement, which he stated to the Times-Union that he's not going to do, or we're going to have to move it when we're evicted sooner if he wins in court. But even if he doesn't win in court for this round, he's going to just keep trying to drive us out. And he'll say it's because of all these problems he's had with me
With
specifically.
code violations and things like
Right,
that. Yeah,
but the
that don't
reali-
exist, yeah.
Right, and the reality is he's at the same time going to my other neighbors and trying to push them out in other ways, or get them to leave through other means. And I would not trust any offer he makes, because he certified something in writing, and clearly, like you said, like that was never his intention. I mean, that was very clear to a lot of us going into it. So, our plan we're going to be homeless afterwards. We've had some offers from friends to stay temporarily, and we're basically going to be looking at a vehicle because my income is not always consistent. I have a number of health problems. Again, this was the reason during the pandemic.
Yeah, you had made your plans. We're
Yeah.
almost out of time,
Oh, sure,
Angela.
sure.
So I just wanted to, but I do wish you well with your.
Thank you.
I mean, because it's got to be tough to face what you're facing. I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine what it's like to sit in your seat right now. I mean, it's going to be tough for you. I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly you have some support on the outside. Hopefully,
We definitely
yeah.
do.
I want to thank you for being here, but I got to tell you who's coming up on our next show. First of all, we're having we're to be talking about challenges for an entrepreneur. I mean, another thing, with the pandemic. We're going to be talking with the Landis Arboretum, the Schenectady Historical Society, Schenectady Light Opera. They're doing Violet. And we're also, the Spina Bifida Association, we'll be talking with them. And I do want to wish all of our friends that are celebrating Ramadan, which started on April the 2nd and runs through May the 2nd. So we wish you a very pleasant Ramadan for the entire month. So thank you all for watching. I'm Ann Perillo, your host for Capital Region Today. You can find us on YouTube called Schenectady Today. Capital Region Today Official. It used to be Schenectady Today. Thank you for watching.